everybody, welcome to On Deck. I'm Ten, and this is our monthly reading series that takes a look at the major arcana of the tarot and how it parallels the hero's journey in our narrative arcs. This week we are going to be talking about the Tower. So this card represents shaking down everything that's not built on a solid foundation. Okay. So the way that I like to look at the Tower is in context of two other cards. The first is the Fool and the second is the Wheel of Fortune. So I look at this card as the third card in like a series of hints from the universe that something needs to change, right? So the Fool is like, yay, start on a new journey. It's an exciting new path. Like, jump off that cliff, leap, and it shall appear. And it's generally like, a happy, uplifting, inspiring, like, yay, we're on a new adventure. The Wheel of Fortune is like, okay, you need a bit of a course correction here. We need to make sure that we're on the path for success. Like, make sure that you are making the decisions that are best for the path you want to be on. And the Tower is basically like, you haven't listened to me. Like, the universe is saying, like, you didn't listen to the Fool card and you didn't listen to the Wheel of Fortune. And now I have to remove you from a situation that is no longer good for you, right? Anything that you have built that is not built on a solid foundation, I have to shake away. You can no longer live in something that's not meant to last, okay? So you can see here that people they've isolated themselves in this tower that they've built and they're not paying attention. They're just gonna, block out the outside world and live in their tower, and the lightning bolts strike and the fire hits and it's like, you have to get out of there, right? If you stay where you are, you're not gonna survive. So that's kind of the context for the Tower card. And so when we take a look at it in terms of our hero, it's like, some kind of revelation happens, some kind of plot twist happens that shows that there's something that the main character has been counting on that or they've been building, but it's kind of all a delusion. Like, they've not been honest, they've not been clear. They are building a relationship or a business or a journey or some kind of, structure, establishment, relationship that is not built on solid ground, right? It's built on lies or miscommunications or half-truths, or, the main character rushed into it without knowing how to do it and just kind of was trying to do it as they went along and made a lot of mistakes. And so anything that, wasn't done properly, anything that wasn't done honestly is going to get shaken loose. And a lot of people are afraid of this card and they think like this is some kind of terrible, tragic thing that's happening. But I, always think of it as a positive card, because whatever's left is the stuff that's really worth having. That's the stuff that's built on a strong foundation. That's the stuff that's real. So when we have this situation with our main character, this is kind of something that happens in the book, a plot twist, a challenge, something that, there's like somebody had been lying the whole time, or they started out as lying, but then they really actually became a friend. But, the main character needs to be told the truth about how it all came about, something like that. It's really a revelation of like what is actually strong and true and what needs to be cleared out of the way. So let's get a little writing prompt for our Tower moment for our main character. That's too many. So far we have the World, which is like a you know, a whole new revelation. It's like you've completed the cycle, you've completed the journey, and you've come full circle. You're back home, but everything's different. You're changed. Home isn't the same, you know. Okay. All right. We've got some difficult cards here for this week, but that's okay because we need challenges or else our character's not going to grow. So let's make a little bit of room here. We'll get these in. Okay. All right, so we have the world, like I was talking about. This is a complete circle. This is like the world is the end of the hero's arc. It's the journey coming to completion, except, you know, everybody's changed. The main character cannot go on this journey and return home the same person. They've changed, they've developed, they've grown. You know, and home isn't the same, you know, since they left. So it's all the same, but different, elevated, you know, changed, truer to oneself. The Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords are really interesting to me because sometimes I read, the way that I read them kind of contradicts each other. So let's talk about the Seven of Swords first. For me, the swords are always internal cards. And a lot of people read the Seven of Swords as like lying, cheating, stealing, betrayal by somebody else. And that could be what happens in your main character's story. Like somebody betrays them, somebody cheats, right? Somebody steals, and that shakes their foundation because they trusted somebody and it turns out they shouldn't have trusted them. But I like to read it as like internal, like self-sabotage, okay? Like I don't believe in my own skills enough to face this opponent head on, so I'm gonna be sneaky and I'm gonna try to sabotage, I'm gonna try, you know, sabotage the field of play. So like the battle, the confrontation is not honorable. This to me also reads as a card of like starting drama on the internet, like making comments just to see, you know, who will react to them or trying to like cause some drama between people. The Five of Swords is sometimes my card of like, it's like somebody has to win. Like these people gathered, they're doing these sword fights, right? These guys are losers, okay? And somebody has to win. And so if you're the winner, you should not feel bad about taking your prizes. You know, these people lost fair and square and they're going to be upset about it, but like you shouldn't downplay yourself to make other people feel bad if it was a fair contest. Okay? So it could be this, you know, it's definitely an internal struggle with these swords. It's a mental struggle. It's like, you know, dealing with your own thoughts. And so what I see as this tower moment is maybe we're not all the way through the journey yet and we have returned home, and it's like that false success, false victory, where it's like, oh, we returned home, we did this whole journey, but it's not what we thought it was going to be, right? And the main character comes home and does not feel like they can face their problems head on, or is trying to face them head on and somebody else is being sneaky. Okay, so there's definitely a feeling of, you know, in this situation, your main character is either being sabotaged by somebody, like they're almost completing the cycle, they've almost won, they're almost successful, but either they're sabotaging themselves or somebody else is sabotaging them to try to take away their victory. Okay? All right, thank you guys so much for joining me this week, and I'll talk to you again next month.